Back to another video on AA learning. Today we're gonna go away from the calculus topic for now and stick with algebra and stick with math, of course, and that's gonna be vertex form. So vertex form, hopefully you guys were exposed to it in like algebra 1 or algebra 2, but this is also a key concept if you're taking the SAT in high school to remember. So okay, the first question most people have is, what is vertex form? Okay, so basically what vertex form is it is a way of writing quadratics to easily find the vertex of the function. Okay, what does this mean? So if you guys know how a basic quadratic looks, you'll know that the shape is something like this, or it could be something like this. So both of these shapes either open upwards or downwards, and both of them either have a maximum, as shown right here, or a minimum. These are the points where it's either the highest or the lowest. And the vertex is basically what that is, the highest or lowest point in the graph. So having a function in vertex form helps us to identify right away what the maximum or the minimum is of the graph. Okay, let's get into the equation of vertex form. So the equation of vertex form is y is equal to a, and then in parentheses, x minus h squared plus k. Okay, I'm gonna go over these parts that are in vertex form. Okay, the first part you guys need to know is the h comma k, because that is where the vertex is. That is equal to vertex. And how will we find that in the equation? Well, it'd be right here and right here. The k value, it could be positive, negative, but this one will remain whatever. If it was positive 5, then it'd be positive 5 for the k value. If it was negative 5, it'd be negative 5 for the k value. But for the h value, it's x minus h. Imagine if it was like x minus 2, then there would be a positive 2 right here for the h value. If it was x plus 2, it'd be negative 2. So you basically have to switch. It's like the opposite, okay? Now, let's go over what the a value is. So the a value is also really important for the vertex form. So the a value, it helps find the direction slash the width of a parabola. Okay, what does this mean? So in general, a parabola shape looks something like this or like this. It's either like generally in like a perfect position, not opening up or opening down. What the a value can sometimes allow us to do is make that parabola more narrow and make it like that, or it can make the parabola more wider. That's how it would look if it was opening up. Now if it was opening down, it'd be like similar process, just more narrow like that, and more wider like that. Okay, let's go over the requirements in order to see if it opens up, opens down, is more narrow, or is wide. Okay, so if the a is greater than 0, then the parabola opens up. And so that is basically seen like this. So if the a is greater than 0, the parabola opens up. So the next thing, if a is less than 0, the parabola opens down. And it would be like this. Just our general shapes that we already know. Okay, the next thing you guys need to know is the absolute value of a. And if it's greater than 1, it would show that the parabola is becoming more narrow. So it would be something like maybe this. or this. As you can see, compared to like these images right here, it's like more skinnier. So yeah. And our last requirement is that if 0 and then absolute value of a and then 1. So if this function, this requirement right here, that if this requirement is met, then if a falls in between 0 or 1, then the parabola is seen as being more wide. And that makes sense, because if we do a value that is less than 0, then it'll open downwards. So that'll switch it up. And if we do a value that's greater than 1, then we know that it becomes more narrow. So it fits the requirements of being more wide. Okay, so let's get into two practice questions for you guys to identify each parts of the each parts for vertex form. Okay, so let's just label this question 1. Okay, I'm gonna write this. Label the parts in equation. That's gonna be the task for you guys. Okay, so the first question is y is equal to 2 times x minus 3 squared plus 1. Okay, remember, I'm going to write the original function that we have. Y is equal to a x minus h squared plus k. Okay, and remember, h is opposite. Okay, so let's identify the vertex and whether the function opens up, opens down, is narrow or wide. Let's do up, question mark, down, question mark, narrow, question mark, or wide. Okay. So to first find the vertex, remember, we have to look at the h value and the k value. And we know from here, h is here, k is here. So we know x minus 3, just switch the sign. So it's minus 3, so it becomes positive 3. So the h value is 3, and we know the positive 1 just stays. So the vertex for at least this equation would be 3, 1. And now let's find if it opens up, down, narrow, or wide. So we see there's a value of 2. And if we remember our requirements, if a is greater than 0, then it opens up. So is 2 greater than 0? Yeah. So it opens up. And if a was less than 0, then it opened down. But 2 is definitely greater than 0. We already established that. So we can eliminate this answer. So now we have to decide if it's more narrow, if it's more wide. So remember, if it's wide, it has to fit in the requirements of being in between 0 and 1. Oh, sorry, let's switch these around. So is it in between 0 and 1? 2 is not in between 0 and 1, so it's not wide, so it'd be considered more narrow. So that's how you guys would do like this process. Okay, let's do question 2 right here. Okay, y is equal to negative x plus 4 squared minus 5. Okay, what is the vertex? So just based off what we have, remember, the vertex, we're switching the h value, but the k value stays. So it's positive 4, so it becomes negative 4 for the h value, and the k stays negative 5. So this vertex is negative 4, negative 5. Now let's find if it opens up, down. I'm just going to do shortcuts. Narrow or wide. Okay. So we see there's no a value, but actually there is. There's always a 1 right here. If you don't see an a value, it always implies there's a 1. So remember that. But it's a negative 1 in this case. So a is greater than 0. Does that apply? Is our a bigger than 0? -1 is not bigger than 0. So it does not open up. So it does open down. Now, is it narrow or wide? It's actually none of these, because the a value is just the same. It doesn't fit any of the requirements. It's not greater than 1, or it's not in between 0 and 1. So it's actually just like a normal downward sloping parabola. So yeah. Let's get into turning standard form into vertex form now. This is also a key concept you guys need to remember. So I'm just going to label this standard form to vertex form. Okay. So if you guys recall or are unaware, the standard form of a parabola is written as y is equal to ax squared plus bx plus c. Now some of these values might look similar to you, like the a value is the same as the one that we had in vertex form. Y is equal to a times x minus h squared plus k. But how do we go from having the standard form equation to having this vertex form equation? So let's go over an example of that. So our example problem is going to be y is equal to x squared plus 6x plus 4. Okay, what we have to do first is just worry about these x terms. So what we want to do is group the x terms together. So y is equal to, make sure you add parentheses in this step because it'll make it way more clear. X squared plus 6x, and then close the parentheses and add the plus 4 to the outside. Okay, that's step 1. Step 2 is complete the square. I'm just going to write shortcut. Complete the square. So in order to complete the square, there's this formula that we have right here, and that's b divided by a squared. Okay, so what does this formula mean? So in this form that we simplified, all we did was add parentheses. The a, b, and c are still the same values. So all we have to do is plug this in. So 6 goes right here. Sorry, it's not a. Sorry, it's 2 here. You have to half the b. So it becomes 6 divided by 2, and you have to square divide that by 2 and then square it. So this would become 3 squared, which is equal to 9. That was my mistake for writing a here. I meant 2. So just let me rewrite this actually. Just completely ignore this. So this would be b divided by 2 and then squared. So just remember this. Ignore the a. There's nothing to do with the a here. It's just b divided by 2 squared. So what we want to do is take this b value we have established. So that's, I'm just going to write the equation again. Y is equal to x squared plus 6x. But this time we know that there's, we put this into the equation. It's 6 divided by 2, so that's 3, and squared is 9. So you have to add a plus 9 right here when completing the square. But we can't just randomly add a plus 9. That's just like out of nowhere, you know? So what we have to do is subtract it by 9 to balance out both sides of the equation. Okay, so this would then simplify to y is equal to x squared plus 6x plus 9 and then minus 5. Now this is looking a little more like vertex form. We have the h kind of value right here. So now all we have to do is factor this. So this would factor into y is equal to x plus 3 squared minus 5. If you guys don't understand that, make sure you guys review how to factor, because that's the key concept. I'll just go over it really quick. So x squared plus 6x plus 9. All we did was, we know this is a 1, so we know what's 9, what multiplies to 9 but adds to 6, because we need to include the 6 too. Well, that's just 3 and 3. and they're both positive 3. So this would simplify to x plus 3 and x plus 3. And x plus 3 times x plus 3 is basically the same as x plus 3 squared. So that was give us our vertex form of the original function we had, x squared plus 6x plus 4. Okay. Let's go over a SAT style question before we end this video. And because this is a key concept that's tested on the SAT, so I want you guys to know that. Okay. So our question is, a quadratic function is defined as f of x equals -3 x plus 4 squared plus k. If the max value is 6, what is k? And the answer choices are either A, -6, B, 0, C, -18, or D, 6. Okay, so let's write this out. Y is equal to -3 x plus 4 squared plus k. Okay, we are told that the max value is 6, so this is also important. So, and we know that the a value is less than 0 because it's -3 right here. So that means the parabola opens down like this. So there is going to be a maximum. So all we need to do is find the vertex. We know h comma k is the vertex. And in this case, we know h. So h is x plus 4. So we will switch it to x is -4. And we know the max value is 6. Well then, that means our k value also has to be 6. So that just leaves D as our answer. So as you can see, some of these like SAT style questions, they're trying to trick you. But also, if you know the rules, we had to know that A is greater than 0, less than 0, in order to find out that it was a downward sloping parabola in order to solve this problem. So I'm going to have a link to some practice problems again in my comments below as usual. You guys should definitely do that just as a quick review to brush up. But yeah, thank you for watching.